And welcome to the weekly weather briefing from the Weather Service in Spokane. This is Matt at the Weather Service, and this is Monday, July 3rd. And basically our overview for this week, summer has arrived, and today we're looking at warm, dry, and somewhat breezy conditions. And then Tuesday through Friday, it's just going to get warmer and, well, increasingly hot, and it's going to continue to be dry. There might be a ghost of a chance of some thunderstorms over the southeast, the Lewiston area. I'll get to that in a couple minutes. But for most of the region, it's just going to be hot and dry, just on time for the 4th of July. And then the weekend's going to be somewhat less hot. However, it's still going to be warm, well above average temperatures, continue dry, maybe a little bit of breezy conditions, especially in the afternoon and evenings near the Cascade Gaps. But other than that, we don't see any major weather patterns coming in. It's just going to be basically a quiet but hot summer pattern. Here's the big picture right now. We have a weak, dry, cold front moving through the region. And basically all that unpleasantness out in the Pacific, well, not unpleasant if you're hoping for rain. Unfortunately, if you are hoping for rain, that stuff's largely going to stay out in the Pacific. So we're going to have a little cold front passage this afternoon. That's going to bring us some breezy conditions. And then, well, that breezy condition is the reason why we have a red flag warning out for basically the Kittitas Valley and the Yakima area, but also across the Wenatchee area, the Douglas Plateau, and the Columbia Basin. We might get some breezy conditions, but we don't think they're going to reach red flag criteria. So it's just going to be warm and dry, and that's the only highlights that we have out now, and the only ones we really expect for at least the next few days. So here's a quick estimate of the winds we're going to expect tonight as that little push comes through, gusting up to 35, 40 miles per hour at Ellensburg, maybe up in the 25, maybe 30 mile per hour range on some of the higher terrain around Wenatchee and over the Douglas Plateau, but generally only in the teens, less than 20 miles per hour, but there might be a steady 10 to 15 mile per hour wind across much of the Columbia Basin this evening. And then we're expecting generally light winds for the rest of the week, terrain driven. And the reason for that is this is the upper level weather pattern for about midweek or so. You see that four corners high pressure over Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico. That's going to be strengthening dramatically over the next few days. That low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska is just going to sit there. And between the two is going to be funneled some nice warm air coming up from the south and right into our area. And so that's going to result in basically warming temperatures each day as we go through the week. And to give you an idea of that, here's our current forecast for, in the upper left-hand corner is the Independence Day tomorrow. We're still just a little bit above average, upper 80s, lower 90s. And then on Wednesday, we added about 5 degrees to pretty much the temperatures over Wednesday. Thursday is going to be another 5 degrees hotter, and we're going to be peaking out on or about Friday. In fact, Friday looks like the warmest day of the week and the warmest day of the entire year so far. We're going to see some widespread triple-digit temperatures over much of the lower terrain around the region, and even 90s in some of the valleys up in the mountains surrounding the basin. So Friday's going to be our peak heating day, and it's going to be a hot one. As far as thunder potential this week, we will have a little bit of moisture perhaps coming up from the south, welling around that Four Corners high. It might penetrate as far as the Lewiston and Latah County area, but we're not too optimistic that we're going to see any thunder out of this stuff this week. However, if thunder were to happen, we expect it would be limited down to the southeast corner and the southern Idaho panhandle. And our confidence of this is pretty low. However, keep checking the forecast starting about Thursday onward, because this is probably the main place where the forecast could change. So we might have to add some thunder down there. But again, I think worst case scenario, it's not going to make it much farther north than the Lewiston, Pullman, Latah County area. And as far as the weekend outlook goes, Friday by Saturday, that high pressure is going to shift a little bit to the east. We're not going to have a real cold front. It's just going to be more of a movement of the thermal axis off to the east. So it's going to help moderate our temperatures off of Friday's highs, but we're still going to be quite warm. Most people are going to be in the 90s throughout the weekend. Precipitation looks pretty dry, again, except for that ghost of a chance of thunder down in the Camas Prairie, Lewiston area, Latah County area, and maybe southern Shoshone County. But otherwise, there are no major weather systems, and we're looking at pretty dry conditions all over through the weekend. Winds might be locally breezy near the Cascade Gaps during the afternoon and evening hours especially. But other than that, not much going on, just a good high summer quiet weekend. The 8 to 14 day outlook doesn't look much better, I'm afraid. No cooling trends. The odds strongly favor above average temperatures. Bear in mind that average temperatures this time of year is in the mid to upper 80s over most of the region. And the 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook is the odds at least moderately favor drier than average conditions. However, I wouldn't read too much into this because dry, our average precipitation is really anemic this time of year once we get here into the summer. So I guess the big news is continued warmer than average temperatures. And so we invite you to stay informed by visiting some of our social media resources. And at this time, that pretty much wraps it up. Does anybody have any questions?
Nope, thank you.